Toronto's podcast on the Canada's Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Celine Williams with Canada's Podcast here at the Collision Conference, and I have the great pleasure of speaking with Maria Greicer, who is the founder of Open MLS. Maria, I'm going to read this bio. Maria is a seasoned global executive and entrepreneur with experience across all disciplines, including leadership, operations, finance, marketing, products, and sales. Most recently, she was the CTO for Justo Brokerage, a real estate company with an innovative concept to disrupt the real estate brokerage market. Thank you so much for agreeing to sit and chat with us, Maria. It's great to have you here.
Nice being here. Thank you.
So my first question is, I'd like to know just a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur and what got you to starting Open MLS.
I always worked in startups. I just somehow got into a startup. I just liked the atmosphere of being in a startup. I started from just like roles that were, well, interesting, but just like entry roles. I saw how it works, and I always wanted like to create something myself.
Right.
So it's like a long journey, but finally decided that that's like the time to start something of my own.
Very cool. And so how long have you been doing Open MLS?
At the beginning of this year, I decided that I'm leaving whatever I'm doing before and doing my own venture.
Very cool. So what does Open MLS do exactly?
So basically it's a marketplace, marketplace for real estate, for resale currently, peer-to-peer. So basically it's for owners who want to sell their house and people who want to buy from an owner. And it automates everything that agents do. So all the role of the agents is automated, and we provide the services for free. So basically there is no need for real estate agent, and whatever guidance and whatever services you usually get from real estate agent, you can get almost the same services online for free. It creates a different ecosystem when people can speak directly to each other.
Sure.
It's all secured and verified, and hopefully it will reduce the cost of current real estate.
So obviously the question is, why Toronto? What brought you here? What's attracted you here? What's kept you here?
Well, most of the places that I've been, they're very extreme in something. So let's say Italy, it's great for vacation. If I retire, I'll go there. It's amazing, great food, great people, great weather. But for making something happen, it's very hard.
Right.
People don't want to work. They don't like to work. It's totally different mentality. So for pleasure, perfect. For getting things done or creating something, that's not so much.
Sure.
Washington DC, totally opposite. People go there to work and to prove how important they are. And Toronto has a little bit of everything. So if you want to go outside, it's very easy. You have everything here. If you want to work, you have the financial district, you have the startup scene. So it's very diverse. So whatever you want, it's here. Employees or co-founders or companies you're interested in or partners, it's all here.
What have been some of the challenges of starting a business in Toronto?
Raising capital, even getting people to understand what you're talking about. And from the point when I started doing what I'm doing, I spoke with people, I spoke with potential investors, I went with investors I was working with before, they just didn't get it. And finding actually a person or group of people who get it and believe in the same things that you believe or come even from the same industry and see the same need, it's hard. It's doable, but it's hard. You get so many no's or so many rejections along the way. Eventually, if you really know what you're doing or you really believe in it, you'll find somebody who understands. That's very challenging. I'm still struggling with that.
If another entrepreneur wanted to start a company in Toronto, wanted to come here, would you have any advice for them based on your experience in the past year and a half?
I guess it's all the same. Finding the network, finding the community. Because it's always about the network, right? If you try to do something yourself, the chances of that succeeding are very low. But finding the network, talking to people, always asking for advice, always asking for help, say what you think and say what you need, and kind of stay I'm listening, and I want that a lot. And just go out and get yourself exposed to people and to the place, to the ideas.
I love that. There's two things that come to mind when you say that. There's a really well-known saying, I don't remember the person's name, but it's your network is your net worth. And that is that one of the most important things you can do is build that network, because that's actually how you can build a business or create a life that is what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like that's very in line with it. And the other one is that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, and that's the idea of building that team and having people around you. And it sounds like you've kind of experienced both of those
yeah,
things.
I kind of was like, I know everything, I can do everything myself, or at least most of it. No. No, I can't.
Yeah, asking for help, it's a real thing.
It was, for me, it's very hard. Like, I always try to achieve things and do things myself as much as I can, but I kind of learned the hard way that asking for help, it's not a weakness. It's actually admitting that you cannot do it yourself, and admitting things that you don't know and that you you are looking for somebody who knows better than you. That was like, for me, like a challenge.
Is there any particular place in or around Toronto, Southern Ontario, that you like to go to disconnect and do that thinking and reflection?
Actually, I have to do that at least like twice a week to decompress.
That's great.
Yes, so my favorite place here, it's North York Regional Forest. It's about 40 minutes drive up 404.
Okay.
It's a huge area. It's like national forest. I love it.
I grew up in the city and I've never heard of that place.
York Regional Forest.
York Regional Forest.
Yes.
Good to know.
It's 404 on Vivian Road.
What are you most excited about in your business right now?
Building it, and people who are potential users for this platform, and seeing the excitement when they say that, yeah, you can do it yourself, you can buy or sell or whatever, you can do it yourself, you don't need to do it the old way. Right. And seeing the reaction of the people that say like, awesome, why it's not done yet? Like, for me, it's like the most exciting. So I'm really like excited to kind of build this thing and let it out, show it to the world, and see the reaction that I'll get.
So what would you say the top 3 things on your bucket list right now are?
Building my own company and launching it, that's like my number one priority.
Probably 1, 2, and 3 really, but let's just say it's number 1.
I think I just like too many things I want to do.
I love it.
I wanted to travel to Asia. I've never been to Asia. So my number 2 is to travel to Asia and to travel business class, because I never fly in business class.
Yeah.
Number 3 is I never stayed for too long in one place. Number 3 is just like stay here long enough and develop myself here and build a network here.
I have 2 questions I'm going to ask in a row. So the first one is, what advice would you have to someone who is where you were a year and a half ago, had an idea for a company, was thinking of starting it? What advice would you have for an entrepreneur that's thinking of starting their own company that you wish you knew?
Just don't wait. Don't wait for miracles to happen. Just go out there and start doing it, even if you have no idea what you're doing. Nobody have idea what they do.
Yep.
No one, even like the top execs usually don't have an idea what they do.
Yep.
And just start doing it, you'll figure it on the way. Like, you make mistakes, you course correct. I'm sure I'm not the first person saying it, but you just do what you know and you figure out on the way, and that will, like, if you know what you want, like if you have a vision, you'll get there one way or another, you'll kind of get there.
What is the best advice that you've ever been given?
It was given to me by my professor of game theory in university. What he told me is that whatever situation I'm in, for a moment disconnect from my emotions and see the things as they are, and then decide.
I love that. That's good advice to keep in mind as you go through this journey, for sure. So I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you.
Sure.
So the first question is, if you weren't doing what you do now for work, what would you be doing instead?
If I was not doing this, I was probably working with VCs, because I love the VC space, I love startups. Yep. Or I would be somewhere at the beach, swimming or hiking mountains.
There we go. Remote island.
Yeah, hiking mountains, swimming in the sea.
That's great.
Or VCs. Yeah. About a year and a half ago, when I just like starting a brokerage business, I was for a month on a ski vacation. I was just like working in the morning, skiing whole day, working in the evening. And that's how the product was created. Right. So you can put them together. Okay,
the next question is, what book are you currently reading, and do you have any books you would recommend to our audience and our listeners?
It's called Made to Stick. I don't remember the author, but Made to Stick.
Made to Stick?
Yes, Made to Stick. So basically it's how to create viral ideas or viral products. So it guides you for all the process of storytelling, of how to actually make people notice, make people pay attention, and remember what you do, who you are, or your story, your product, whatever.
If you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what word would it be and why?
Curious.
Ooh, why curious? I love that.
Because I'm always curious. That's like my number one trait, regardless what it is. I'm always like want to see more, learn more. Like for me, that's very much expresses my personality.
I like that. It's a good word. I identify with curious also. What is keeping you up at night these days?
My project, making it happen.
Yep, that's your pre-launch. That's not surprising. It's probably a lot to do.
Well, there's lots to go till launch.
What is your favorite place in the world and why?
I would say Italian Alps during the winter are amazing. Yeah, I would say Italian Alps.
Okay, so what are 3 non-negotiables that have to happen as part of your morning or evening routine if you have, whichever one you tend to do?
I have 2 non-negotiables maybe in the morning. I'll try to do sports a little bit every morning and coffee. Without coffee, it's impossible to start the day.
That's a good non-negotiable. I appreciate that.
Well,
it's a bit of a longer question, but it's a little bit more fun. So there's a small, beautiful tropical island in the middle of the ocean with only 1 phone booth and no internet. You are dropped off on that island. You have 1 phone call that you can make. How long do you think it would be until you made that phone call to get rescued? And what would you do up until that point?
You know what? It will take about a couple months. I'll just enjoy myself.
That's great.
Yeah, just, I don't know, island, sea. You just have fun, relax. I just usually say to my friends, just because I traveled so much, I end up sometimes in weird places all by myself. I have no idea where am I have no idea what's happening where. And somehow I always find a way or always find something interesting to do. And my friends are joking at me, so I'm like a little joking that you can put me in the middle of the ocean on an inhabitable island and they'll find something there. They'll figure it out.
That's a good thing. Maria, where can our listeners and our audience find you online? What's the best place for them to find you? LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yes.
And I'm going to spell your last name, Maria, and it's Greicer with Open MLS.
Yes.
Pronounced Greicer.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you to the audience and the listeners for listening and being with us. You can check out Canada's podcast online, and we hope to see you next time.